this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your daily horoscope and energy reading for August 15th. And so we are done with the moon being in Leo, and we are on to it being in Virgo. So when the moon goes into Virgo, I want to talk about that energy shift. I think it's more of a disconnected energy than this passionate Leo moon that you just got out of. So let's talk about this. The sun is still in Leo, and Venus is still in Leo in retrograde. So this is still, I think there's something that, I think if you look back on your past and you look back on past relationships, I think there's still a person that pulls you back. It was probably the person that you were the most authentic with, that you did not have to put on a front to be around. And I think that that's what you're going to be thinking about extensively, is that love, that lost love. And this could go back to childhood. This could go back to a childhood love of somebody that when you look back, I don't know, you didn't have to put makeup on for. You didn't have to become anything that you weren't. You were just who you were, and that person adored those cute little quirky things that you were. I think that that's the type of energy that you're going to be looking at. Now, that is going to trine Uranus and Aries. So we are talking about somebody that, just really plugged you in back in the day and really made you feel good about yourself. When you were with that person, they made you feel good about who you were. It is somebody that I want to say lit the fire within you and made you feel strong and resilient and sexual and just very, amazing in the end. And you're going to think about this person, and I'm not saying something could very unexpectedly come out of the blue and could, I don't know, make you want to have the nerve to go after that person. Or, if you ever have an Aries-based energy, they're not scared of anything. They go after what they want, and they go and they get it. So I think you could be surprised on just a need to want to go back to somebody in the past and really rekindle an old romance. You could have that energy today, or you need to have that conversation about it, or you need to let them know how you feel, how you authentically feel today. I think for some of you, pulling yourself back in the past and revisiting some of those past people are going to make you face some areas that you are lacking, some areas that you lose yourself, some areas that are less than ideal. And I think that you're going to have regrets. I think for many of you, you may face some really big regrets about past relationships, and you may lose power in those moments. And I don't want you to. Look, Saturn's not here to make you revisit your past and make you succumb to it. It's here to help you learn from it. Karmic lessons are all about having you learned from some of the past endeavors that you went through. Saturn's direct now. It's not about making you accountable to these karmic relationships. Yes, there was energy that made us do that. It was very real energy, and we did have to revisit that. But we're not talking about revisiting those energies anymore. We're talking about taking a look at those karmic relationships. We're talking about learning from them. We're talking about moving forward. And it could mean revisiting those relationships, saying you're sorry, and letting them know how you feel, because those were the people that really authentically made you feel like you. They made you feel like who you really were. And so it may be healthy to revisit that. I think in today's energy, I think it is going to be big today. Saturn is going to be a big, big player for many of you. Big, big player. It could mean that there's something that you need to think about. There's something that when you're calculating up all of your relationships, and I did this actually when Saturn was in Scorpio, I calculated up all of my relationships, and I looked at what is my part in it? You want to blame everybody else for everything that's happened to you, especially you want to blame your partners, because if they left you, Or, you know, you want to, if somebody stole your idea and took off with your creative endeavor and, you know, you're stuck there thinking that you should have done more to protect yourself. I mean, all of these things are things that we need to think about, we need to correlate, we need to calculate in our heads, and we need to find better ways to protect ourselves. It's the only way that we can grow and we can have a rebirth in energies that took away our personal power. The moon and Jupiter are still working hand in hand, so we're talking about expanding some serious routines in our lives. Look, if we have issues that we need to work through that are power-based issues, that are issues within us, that we have poor coping methods, or we have self-sabotaging behaviors, or when we get in a relationship and it gets too hot and it gets too close to a commitment and we have commitment issues, I think those are going to be revisited today. Look, all of this reflection is to help us progress and to move forward and to ascend and to move upward. Yes, pulling us back into our past with so many energies in our past, because we've got Pluto, we've got Neptune, and we have Uranus, all pulling us back into our past and all having us take a look at things. When we get pulled back into our past, we are falling into a little bit of a lower vibration and energy, and that is only so that we can, you know, ascend and revisit those energies. This isn't terrible energy. This isn't, you know, this isn't like, okay, we're pulled back into our past, we're stuck into these past patterns, we're never going to progress, we're never going to move forward, we're never going to get unstuck from our situations. Look, yes, those energies suck, they're hard to deal with, they're uncomfortable, but if we use them as teaching tools, if we see where we go wrong, if we see that we are the common denominator, then we can have Saturn come in and remove obstacles and progress in energy. And you know, Saturn is really wanting to do that. There's definitely a split in Saturn's energy. There is a split in the energy that says we have all this past tug and pull back in our past, and we have all this accountability in our past, and we have things that we need to learn, right? So we've got all of that stuff going on, and for some of you, you are getting your awakening now. The great Jupiter, the great awakener, is awakening your mind, and that is what it's doing in Virgo. And so for some of you, when you take a look and you have this great awakening and you realize that you are the common denominator, that you are your own worst enemy, then I think you fall into a square. You fall into the lower vibration of all the Saturn energy, and you know, you find fear, and you find poor coping methods, and you start to calculate it all, and then all this analytical thinking starts to get swept up in you're bad, you're not good, you're non-deserving, you did these things, you took a part, you realize your part, and now it's all bad. But I don't want you to get stuck there. Yes, we need a certain amount of accountability in ourselves to say, yes, we put ourselves in this situation. Yes, Saturn, I understand that, you know, 2012 and 2014, I was accountable in these areas. And yes, thank you for pointing those out. But there is a time when Saturn is willing to say, okay, you got your lesson. That's all you needed to know. That was it. Now I'm going to remove all the obstacles. I'm going to put some passion back into your life. I'm going to put some drive back into your life. I'm going to trine Mars in Leo, and I'm going to ignite your heart again in these areas. And I'm going to maybe bring in somebody, and it could just be a karmic relationship, but I'm going to bring somebody back into the picture that is going to stimulate you in a way that makes you want to move out of your past patterns. So don't get lost in this energy. If Saturn sideswiped you this week, there's a purpose, there's a reason, and it's like all energy. It comes and it goes, and there's a high and there's a low, and you know, where there's a low, there's gonna be a high again. So don't stress. If you are falling into past patterns, if you are saying, okay, yes, I'm charming, I know I'm charming, and charm always gets me out of my situation. I know that if I, you know, that I killed that relationship by charming by cheating. And I looked back on it, it's painful, it doesn't make me feel good, and I know, but I can rely on that charming quality within inside myself to go charm somebody else to make me immediately feel good. Guys, you're gonna experience a quincunx. And because the point of all this energy is to pull you out of past patterns, out of past thinking, and it's supposed to make you excel, make your mind go in a different direction. But if you keep relying on this old pattern thinking, then yeah, you're gonna fall again. You're gonna experience some quincunx. It's not that easy, because we're talking about the realization of who we really are. And although, yes, you can Neptune it out and you can pretend like it's not there, I wouldn't, because there's no energy that supports Neptune this week. There's no energy that supports, falling into that past pattern is going to generate, that past result, and it's going to get you in this significant, you're not going to excel, you're not going to ascend. You may have some gratifying experience that is very short-lived. You probably will, but Saturn is making a statement in these final degrees. Saturn only has so much time to tie up this stuff and really make you understand the energy that it's trying to portray and really make you understand where it's trying to go. There is a reason why Saturn wasn't, okay, so if you think about it, Saturn went through Scorpio. It was a hard transit. It was a really fear-based transit. It really made us become aware of all of our inner demons, and then it dropped into Sagittarius. And when it dropped into Sagittarius, it dropped into there because Sagittarius is the higher mind. It is elevated thinking. So it took all of that and it said, okay, yes, but there was a bigger purpose to all that. It wasn't just the universe is picking on you, or these relationships ended and they were just terrible. I mean, we needed to learn something, and that involved our higher mind. We needed to step outside of the box and look at everything as a whole, and we needed to look at all these energies as a whole, and we needed to learn from it. Then it fell back into Scorpio, and it said, okay, I really need to make sure that you understand this is the point I'm trying to make. And now it's going to go back into Sagittarius. But before that, it's going to move direct. And so when it fell back into retrograde. It said, reiterating, hey, this was the lesson. This is what I wanted you to know. You did this again with somebody else, and you did it in that previous relationship. So these correlate. What do they correlate to? And it could be in business. It could be in financial endeavors. It could be in shared resources. It could be in heart-based endeavors. I'm not going to say that it doesn't, but there's a correlation. So you tried to do the same old past patterns again. You got your ass handed to you, and then now that it's going direct, it's saying, take a look at all this before it drops back into Sagittarius, and it's going to drop back into Sagittarius for the rest of the lessons, for the rest of the expansive thinking. You have enough tools to have that expand your thinking and for it to really, really ignite what it's supposed to. But you have to, all this stuff needs Virgo-based energy. It needs analytical thinking, which is why, guys, you don't even understand the energies that are coming into our lives, but they are all moving into Virgo-based energy, and that is very analytical thinking. That is setting up, mental well-being practices that are good and physical well-being practices that are good. It is very routine-based. So these are getting us out of old routines and launching us into new routines. So let Saturn make that statement to you. Let it talk to you. Let it do what it needs to do. There's something it's trying to say to you, and it's very, very important that you understand it. I think what this is going to boil down to is it's going to be ego versus the way that you idealize yourself. This is going to be the reality of your situation versus I see myself as this type of being. And, that's a little realization. And so there's definitely a lot of energy in here that states to me that we have something deep to learn from this day and that we have something deep to go through yet. I don't think you guys are not going to know what all of this stuff means until like November. We have a solar eclipse coming up. We have a lunar eclipse coming up, and these are in big energies. And so, and guys, I think when you look at Jupiter being in Virgo and you look at it expanding parts of us in our routines, if we are in poor mental health routines or poor physical health routines, or if we are in poor work routines, it's going to expand those areas and it's going to make us fall on our butts, or it's going to make us excel. We need to be humbled down. We need to understand what these energies mean for us and what they mean in the long run. This is big stuff. This is energy I can't explain, but I feel that there's a shift in energy and it's going to impact all of us on a different level. Thank you so much for tuning into Annette's Astrology Corner, and I will see you guys tomorrow.